Greetings, Flynn here, Salesman of the Year and proud dad of Welby, who just learned to eat cupcakes with a paper on. Oh, what a good boy. So anyway, we were on this work assignment to figure out the problem with the lumberjacks, and apparently the forest won't let them work without setting them on fire. It was a bit sad seeing all the trees cut down, but before we could get very far, Master Speck appeared on the road and hitched a lift. That guy hovers. I don't know why he just couldn't fly himself. We got to the edge of the forest, and it was a bit horrific seeing all the charred goliaths. Master Speck called out to an elf from inside and asked for us all to pass through. He called us his friends, which I wouldn't really say is true, but it got us inside. We discovered that there's a secret village of elves in the forest, and they have this big magic fountain that keeps them alive, so they can't leave. They wouldn't let Ida fit in their palace, so we had to go and speak to their king without him. The king was pretty reasonable until his son, Master Speck, came and started aggravating him. Meanwhile, Idafer met with this manic elf woman who asked him for a cup of tea, and then he stormed into the banquet hall with us and accused Speck of being his friend Amity. And he was right! Speck was just an illusion all this time. I wonder why this Amity guy has been pretending to be hot.
Everybody, and welcome to the terrible adventures of the Janice and Breford's Parchment Company. My name is Penny D, and I'll be your dungeon master today. Say hello, players.
Hello, players. Oh, you guys are nerds.
You gotta love it. You love to see it. My name's Penny D, and my favorite tree actually was given to me by one of the cast members. My favorite tree is a little lime tree that I have in my backyard that I've got in a little half barrel, and I'm growing limes. Very cute.
Amazing choice.
That is my favorite tree. I have a lot of trees that I really like, but that one's my favorite.
Oh, I'm so touched. I wonder who gave you the tree.
It was given to me as a housewarming present, and I honestly could not have thought of a better. The person who gave me that knows me very well.
Well, thank you. Hello, listeners. My name is Liz, and I play Karen, the Dwarven Barbarian. And Karen's not a big tree person. You know, she's more rock and stone. But
yeah,
my favorite tree is the cherry blossom that we have in our front yard.
Cute.
Very cute. I love it. Cherry blossoms are very
blossoms
sweet.
are lovely.
We're high enough up that every spring our cherry blossom blooms a couple of weeks after all of the cherry blossoms down in the valley. So we always get to see pink blossoms for a little bit like everybody else.
Aww.
And I like that a lot.
I think there's also something really special about the fact that like the blossoms are only there for a little while, and so when you see them, it's like, this is a fleeting moment of wonderful, and I love it.
Exactly. I love it a lot. It's a really gorgeous tree.
Hello, I am Nathan, and I play Flinla the Halfling Bard. And my favourite tree, this is actually quite hard to pick because I actually really love trees, but mine would be specifically a weeping willow. One, because as a kid it's like an amazing fort, but two, as an adult reading, it gives nice shade, but it doesn't drop stuff on you because it kind of creates the outer shade, so you're not.
Yeah, it's like a big natural umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are truly wonderful. I remember we used to have heaps when I was a kid, and we would like probably terrible. We'd cut off the branches all the times and make like swords with them and stuff. But
oh, I used to cut off some of the old branches and try and weave them. I wasn't very good at it, but I gave it a go. You know?
Hell yeah!
I just googled weeping willow, and they actually are like really gorgeous trees. That's awesome.
Yeah,
They do look a little bit like they're crying. That's lovely.
Did you think we were lying?
No, I don't.
Beautiful trees.
I just couldn't identify what one was just off thought alone, so I had to Google it. But that's a great pick.
It's a great pick.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Stephanie. I played Frankie, the human artificer, and I'm pretty sure it's my turn to go now. I'm also going to take Nate's pick. It's a weeping willow is my favorite type of tree. It's just so like weepy and willowy, and it blows, and the wind is like blowing, and it reminds me of like little tentacles of a massive like octopus or something. And a close second would be obviously a Christmas tree. Which
that's very cute.
Like I'm classing that as a type of tree.
It is.
Hell yeah.
Fight me in the comments. No.
Get her ass. No, that's a great pick. And I mean, that's great. You love Christmas, so I'm not surprised at all.
Yep. And like anything could be a Christmas tree, I've decided, if you just put like decorations on it and call it a Christmas tree. So I like that versatility. So it doesn't have to be a pine or a fir or, one of those Douglas. It could be literally any type of tree you want it to be. Some people have cacti as their Christmas trees, So any tree you want it, you believe in it, it's a Christmas tree.
That's
So
so.
box ramp done.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
I also love, Steph, how you picked the weeping willow as well, but your reasons for it were just also completely different.
Yeah. I just like how it dances in the wind sometimes, and then it's like, oh, I'm just a tree, and I'm also an octopus, and then you go inside it, and you're like, haha, I've just been eaten by an octopus. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Poppy. I play Ida for the Tiefling Rogue, and I think my favorite tree is... Oh, this one's hard. Okay, I'm going to say two of them. The first one is eucalyptus, because they are just absolutely gorgeous trees, and I also love the smell of eucalyptus. It's, gorgeous. Funnily enough, eucalyptus trees aren't just Australia. They're all over New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get the rainbow eucalyptus, and they look so sick. And the other one I was going to say is the birch tree, because in every video game that has wood cutting, the birch wood is the nicest wood to use.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Is that the one with the cow print in Minecraft?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, right? Like, all of my buildings in Minecraft are birch.
Yeah, the Minecraft birch is consistently the best.
Next trivia will have to be favorite type of wood, because I've got a lot of opinions on types of wood.
I do also.
Oh my goodness.
Hold
We've
on
already
to that
got
for
it.
next episode.
Fantastic.
This is actually not a dendrology podcast. This is a
What?
D&D podcast.
Dendrology.
It could be.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
googled what is the study of trees called, and it's apparently
Oh
called
my
dendrology.
god.
I was like, has
You
he been
smarty
holding on to
pants.
that for like years?
No, googled it 10 seconds ago.
Behind the curtain.
So obviously we're right in the middle of some D-rama. How do we feel about getting back in and playing some Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, please.
Oh, I
Very
love
excited
it.
and nervous.
It's about 4 days ago, and we are watching Idafer walking home from the castle. It's just after sunset. He's thinking about what he and Silver talked about. He's thinking about the freedom that he has. He's thinking about the future and what he really wants. Poppy, would you like to speak to what Idafer is going through in this moment?
Ido is walking back from the castle, obviously. Firstly, I think Ido is just really impressed with how mature Silver is, because he's still just a kid. Like, we were at his 13th birthday. So he just sees, like, this huge future ahead of Silver. But he also totally understands, like, it must be very stressful for him to be like, oh no, I have this big kingdom to look after, and there's a lot of stress for a 13-year-old. But I think Ido would really like to expedite this idea of them, like, going traveling together and kind of getting him away from his responsibilities, I guess. He's kind of like, oh, surely the ladies can look after everything while I take Silver on a little trip, right?
We're also living in the post-Wish Scroll environment too, and you already mentioned in the Smoko episode that Idafer was struggling with the, like, dual identities of, like, the, you know, the super spy hero and now the, you know, the janitor and the adventurer.
Do you think Idafer maybe feels... Idafer's still quite young, even though Silver's said a lot about how much responsibility he has on his shoulders and how much he feels he has to do and how much his life is already stretched out ahead of him. Do you think Idafer still feels maybe a little bit envious that at least Silver knows where he came from and he has that stability?
I think something that has been kind of established with Idafer is that he's so... Like, I think he feels more abandoned by his original parents and just so loved by his current parents, like his now parents, that he just feels grateful that he has them because they've always been there for him. They're always so supportive. Like, obviously there's that tinge of him that would love to know where he came from and stuff, but he also I think he is, like, he's quite angry at his birth parents, because, like, why'd they get rid of him, sort of thing, you know?
That
Yeah.
is a very valid feeling as someone who is adopted and has
yes.
gone through those sorts of feelings. Being my age now, I could see, my birth mother literally did the almost ultimate sacrifice and gave up her child. And I realized in order to do that is an act of love. But also, I was angry for a long time because I'm like, well, how could my own mother just get rid of me?
Oh, totally. I can
So,
only imagine.
So I get exactly what you're saying, and those are all valid, very valid feelings for Idafer.
And I think, he is still young as well, so he hasn't quite grasped the idea that, like, this was probably done for his sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's still kind of frustrated, but...
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. That's definitely fair.
Idafer stops. There are 2 roads ahead of him. One of them leads straight home, the regular path, safe and well-travelled. The other leads through the centre circle park, past the execution tower, and past the duck pond that Silver wanted so badly to visit with his father. Which way does Idafer go?
Oh, you know that Ido's going to the duck pond. That is, he's going straight to it. He's a little bit sad that he doesn't have any, like, seeds or something that he can feed the birds, but he wants to go and sit exactly where Silver said he would like to sit with his father and just kind of ruminate for a bit, to be honest. Just kind of like, because it was quite a heavy conversation, really, so he just kind of wants to decompress and just enjoy the duck pond.
That makes a lot of sense. We join our heroes back in the present, in the Lord's Tree in Manifay Forest. Everyone is being held at spear point, and the gold-clad guards are beginning to force them towards the door.
I actually feel like we would be running towards it, because I think, we're a bunch of heroes, right? I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'd be wanting to, like, I want to continue this conversation, but this is a bigger problem right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no.
So you guys are being cooperative. You want to go to the forest.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
going to the
Yes,
forest.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Put this out.
All right. Okay. That's interesting. It wasn't what I was expecting. So Yashul is actually also, obviously, he ordered his guards to like force you out, and you're just like, yeah, cool, let's
like,
go. And he's a little
whatever,
bit like,
let's go, yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Amity is actually forced to his feet by a guard and shoved towards the door.
Oh.
His frail legs buckle.
Oh, no.
Idafer, roll me insight.
Inside. I rolled a 12.
Oh, well, you're lucky because it was a 12 or higher. It was
Oh
the
my God.
Idafer, you really see Amnity's gaunt features, his stretched, brittle limbs, and his sunken eyes for what they are as he falls to the ground. He's not just deformed, he's exhausted. He's been pushing himself far too hard for far too long.
I would like to kind of like run over to him and be like, get your hands off him! And like, put his arm over my shoulder and stand him up, sort of thing. Like, I'm still frustrated with him, but come on, man.
Roll me an intimidation check against the guard.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I'm not going to ask for that, don't worry.
Can I use my reaction to grant Idafer +5 to his check, please?
Absolutely you can, Frankie.
Brown your eyebrows a little bit. Makes you look angrier.
Get away from him! So I rolled 11 plus 5, so that's 16 in total.
Yeah, the guard where, like, you walked up to him when he's got a spear pointed at you and you, like, give him a glare and you, like, bend down to pick Amnesty up. And the guard hesitates. They're very taken aback by your behavior and your willingness to cooperate. Because Yashul is assuming that you came here to trick him.
Well, he's a dingus.
And Idafer, you bend down and you grab one of Amnesty's arms and you put it over your shoulder and you begin to stand up and you look up and you can see Yashul standing over both of you, sneering. Your weakness does not excuse you from following my command, boy. I will not allow you to bring cataclysm to my forest again. On your feet.
Back off, old man.
Oh, hey, we don't actually have time for this. We have to get to the edge of the forest now. Let's save this for later.
Yashul's eyebrows raise, and he looks at you, Karen, and he just says, "Agreed. Let's go." And Idafer, you'd be the only one that sees this. Roll me a perception check.
Okay. Perception. That is a 28.
Holy shit!
My perception.
Out of the corner of your
seeing him.
Out of the corner of your eye, you see Amnesty put one of his hands into the bowl of fruit that's nearby, but he doesn't take a piece of fruit out. He just it seems like a deliberate movement, but then he gathers his own weight from you, and he sort of smiles at you a little bit, and he says, "Thanks, lad. I knew I could count on you." And he follows the procession of guards and Parchment Company employees out of the dining hall into the Great Hall, where Gwynfear is waiting.
Mhm.
Idafer, you ran out of the room.
Yeah, I kind of just abandoned her.
You didn't realize that she had followed you. She is waiting in the next room, and as everyone comes out, she storms up to Yashul and starts ranting at him. "You old bastard, how dare you endanger him again? You had your chance when he was small, but he's grown now. He's grown. You leave him alone." And Yashul just stands there taking this. His expression is restrained. He's allowing his daughter to scream at him. And you all think to yourselves, this is probably how their interactions go every time they see each other. Yashul looks just very his facial expression is restrained, but he looks tired of this. But Gwynfear just strikes him across the face with a backhanded slap and goes for a dagger. And she is quickly restrained by palace guards who begin to drag her away. And Yashul sort of rubs his face and says, "No, enough of this. My daughter can come and see what lies outside this prison that she despises so much. She can see what her horrible father is protecting her from." And with that, the 6 of you and the guards and Yashul are... Look, my notes say that you're frog marched out, but obviously that's not what's happening. You're going voluntarily, so...
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean, we owned a frog and it walked out?
When did we get a frog?
And with that, the 4 of you, accompanied by Amnesty, Gwynfear, Yashul, and a couple of dozen gold-clad elven guards, march out of the Lord's Tree and through Manifay Village in the direction that you first entered. Roll me insight, everybody.
Yay.
All of us. Bad. 10.
19.
Ida rolled 14.
Flynn rolled on that one, and then a 10.
Frankie, you're the only one who sees this. As you march out of the doors and past the fountain with that font that makes you dizzy with how strong it is, you see that Amnesty's eyes just locked on it as you walk past.
Oh man.
Frankie, he sees that, and then he eyes Idafer, or tries to get Idafer to also notice that, but not using words, but by using his own, eye movements and head tilts.
I think that Ida is just a bit too busy, keeping his uncle up, basically, and heading towards the big machine. Sorry.
He sees Frankie nodding at the fountain. He's like, "Yeah, man, there it is."
Fountain, sure is, bro.
So pretty.
You look really cute in this light.
So with Yashul leading the way, his stride is otherworldly. His eyes are smoking, and this trail of smoke just billows behind him as he leads the way through the village. And as you pass through the village, you all can look up to the boardwalks built into the trees, and you can see all of the elven people stop what they're doing, and they're all watching you and whispering to each other, and some of them are giggling and pointing, but all of them look in awe at the picture of their leader, of Yashul, walking through the village and towards the forest. You reach the village edge, and you walk into the forest itself without slowing down. The 6 of you, obviously the fact that you're cooperating, and I'm including Gwynfear and Amity amongst that, you're unrestrained. Assuming that you're keeping at the guard's pace, you should be fine to speak freely.
Guys, what do you think made the machine start up again? Wasn't it broken when we left?
No, I believe Frankie fixed it. But they shouldn't have been so... They shouldn't have been so eager to get started again. We haven't fixed it yet.
It's okay, we can do this. We've handled way worse than this before.
Yeah, it's not a T-Rex.
This is true.
I hope you're right. This is, I only know what to compare it to, but this is like if one of the gold seekers tried to get into the Diamond Heart's mine. This is big. This is political. Are you Randall that Idafer?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I trust you.
I would like to imagine that with the power of the font, Ido's eyes are quite, they're kind of glowing a little bit. Do you think that would be okay?
Sure, absolutely. Why not?
Little neon-y.
Yeah.
Idafer, you notice as you're walking and chatting with your friends, with your found family, that Gwynfair is still so manic. She's like shoving guards that aren't even close to her, but she is looking at you with this big smile, this big like weird creepy smile. And she's telling everyone close to her. She's like ranting about how her boy is back to slay his grandfather for culling all of her other children, and she's like kicking at the guards and trying to take their spears from them, and they're very restrained with her, but she's not okay.
Actually, at this point, I would like to, because I'm obviously carrying Enmity with me, or Speck Enmity, I would like to be like, what is her problem?
There's a moment where you don't think that Amity heard you, and as though he's like concentrating on something else, and then he turns to you and he says, "Sorry, what?"
I said, what is her problem? She's so manic.
My sister has been expected to produce heirs for our bloodline, and unfortunately, every person that she tried to add to our family was. And he looks forward at like the smoke trail that's coming back from Yashul, and he pauses for a moment, and he looks back at you and he says, "Not good enough. They were all not up to his standard, and so she is a mother with no children to speak of."
Oh, man.
And I don't think she has handled that particularly well.
Well, I can kind of see the family resemblance. So she's my auntie, right?
Gwynfair?
Yeah.
He pauses for a long time, looking between both of you. Then he looks at you and says, "Idafer, that's your mother."
I think that's going to stop Ido in his tracks. And he's going to drop Amity. He didn't mean to, he's just like kind of shocked.
Sure, let me just roll a check to see if he takes his own weight.
Oh god, I hope it's okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. You drop him, but like he's able to stand rather than just fall back down again.
I think Ido's gonna kind of fall to his knees and look at Amity and be like, "What?"
That's my sister. Once upon a time, when she was birthing her last child. And at this point, like guards are trying to like shove you along, but he's just trying to like maintain this sort of eye contact with you. The last child she gave birth to, a dashing hero, swept in and took it before the guards could, before my father could have it destroyed. And that was the last time that you were ever here, until now.
Idafer?
I think Ido's just kind of like, not quite panic attack, but definitely just like on his hands and knees, just kind of looking at the ground, breathing, just like.
At this point, Gwynfair sees this and she stops punching a guard in the head and she runs over to you to like kneel down and she says, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Frankie, get him up.
I'm sorry, I just have a question.
Yes.
Were we all there that one time when we were in that like house and there was that like family photo painting, or was that just Ido?
Ido was the only one there in that apartment.
Okay.
And he brought the painting home with him. I don't know whether he ever shared that with you. That's up to Poppy.
Okay.
I don't think I did. But yeah, you guys have all heard it now. I push Gwynfair away.
Frankie, get him up.
I'm going. Frankie just sort of moves in between like to try and get in between Ido and Gwynfair as a, hey, here, let me just help you get to your feet when you're ready.
I think Ido is, he's just in shock, to be honest. So I think he would just kind of like grab Frankie in a big hug because he knows Frankie, he knows who Frankie is, and it's just like comforting.
Yeah.
Frankie hugs back and just like lets Ido lead, as in he lets go when Ido lets go.
Yeah.
So he just holds him for as long as Ido needs it.
Aww.
I'd say like after a couple seconds, because like he's stressed as shit. Like this is very shocking.
Oh yeah.
But he kind of also understands the situation they're currently in. He's like, okay, well, we'll get this done first.
Does anyone help Gwynfair up?
You know what? Karen helps her up.
Idafer, when you pushed Gwynfair away, she just fell back onto her, like into her being just sitting on the ground in the forest, and she just watches you with wide eyes, kind of blinking a little bit too fast, and just watches as Frankie scoops you up and hugs you. And all the guards at this point are like, hey, we've been stopped for way too long, so they're all trying to get everything moving. And one of them leans down to strike Gwynfair, but Karen, you quickly put arms underneath her shoulders and scoop her up. And she cackles maniacally. She's like, he's going to kill you all. He's going to kill you all.
Oh dear.
Keep moving and stay with me. I'm a mother too.
As I get up to go, I'm gonna I'll look down at Amity. I'm not angry at him or anything. I'm just I think I also just feel a bit stupid that I didn't realize she's my mum. I'll grab his hand and pick him up, but I'm not going to carry him anymore. I'm just going to my focus right now is to destroy this thing that's coming towards the forest.
Yeah.
We walk like this for a while with this tension amongst our group. Karen, you carry Gwynfair for a few paces before she just seemingly just moves on from what she was experiencing and goes back to just angrily lashing out at any guard that's close to her. She is mostly focused on the idea that this is their last day, that her progeny returning means that soon her father will be dead, the thing that she wants the most in the world. It's very concerning to see this behavior coming from her. She's not been cared for very well in the last 19 odd years since she had her last child. As we approach the edge of the forest, the guards are ready to go. They're talking about enchanting their spears. Yashul does not break pace for a moment. You'll have to catch up with him again. And he calls back to seemingly everyone, but no one in particular. He says that if they will not stop, that his guard should be ready to kill the visitors in front of the intruders to cement the border for good. And that he will destroy the forest killing machine for good measure. And you all wonder to yourselves whether or not he has the power to back up that threat. When
Ido doesn't believe it for a second. He's like, this old piece of shit.
And we arrive back at the tree border, and with a sweep of Yashul's hand, he alone walks past the tree line to the barren hills. He looks around, confused. There's no machine, no Goliaths. There's nothing here. There's no one. Idafer, you feel a spindly, deformed hand on your shoulder. You look back and Amity does not meet your gaze. Instead, he watches his father with a restrained expression. But you know that his words are for you. The first year of your life was the happiest year of mine. Oh, I wished we could have stayed happy together. And he finally turns to you, and you can see regret in his eyes as they well up with tears. And he looks at you and he says, but that was just a dream.
What do you mean?
He smiles and lets go of your shoulder and begins to shrink. Yashul has a guard approach him, calls a guard over, and he's waving a hand to allow them to cross the border. And he says, you told me that there were outsiders approaching the border. Where are they? And the guard responds and says, my lord, the report said that they were right here. And he says, who gave you this report? And the guard stammers and he says, I don't know. It was a guard I didn't recognize. And Yashul bristles and says, someone you don't, but who could? And the blood drains from Yashul's face as he whips around to look at Amity. who by this point is half of his height, shrinking smaller and smaller, and taking on the appearance of a little wooden figurine.
What is happening?
Idafer, you realize that the figurine that is appearing in Amity's place was one that used to be right in your pocket.
What? I was like, oh my god, of course.
Of course, what?
It's the teleport thing.
Doing that thing again, just like he did at the cave.
In a moment, Amity is gone. Yashul is shouting, and then in the next moment, all of the elves collapse to their knees and begin to writhe in pain. Yashul looks horrified as all of his guards begin to collapse, and he says, He's going after the fountain. The font is being tampered with. We must kill him immediately. Yashul waves his hand in front of him and walks back toward you, but as he crosses the threshold, he is immolated and burned by dark red fire.
Oh my god!
He screams in pain and staggers backwards away from the forest. And Gwynfere laughs through her pain at his misfortune. How does it feel to be helpless, you monster? Yashul, with one hand entirely charred all the way up to the shoulder, implores Gwynfere to go back. Whatever you think of me, everything I did was to protect Manaphe. Your brother has gone mad. He's warped by those coins, and he will kill everyone in the village. Leave me to die if you must, but stop him. Gwynfere, grasping her head in pain, staggers over to Idafer, collapses into him. And she looks up at you, Idafer, and says, My big strong boy, your uncle would never hurt you. He took you away from this place to protect you, but if that asshole is right, he may be here to harm the rest of us. I don't care about me, but those people are just living their lives.
He wouldn't do that. He's Master Speck. He's a hero.
Idafer, look at these people. Karen's kind of crouched over the elves. Her hands are hovering. She's not sure what to do.
Everybody roll me Arcana.
Ido got an 11.
I got 18.
Frankie got 28.
Karen got an 11.
Flynn and Frankie, you can feel disruptions in the energy that spills from the font. Something is happening back at the village.
You're definitely right. It's the fountain. We've got to go back. I think this was a definite diversion. Good tactics.
Something's happening at the font, Ido.
Yeah. Did he... Why?
It's not to ask why right now.
Ido is frozen. He's pretty stunned. He can't imagine that his uncle would do anything like that.
Flynn kind of speaks up and he goes, This can't be another city centre. We've got to react. We've got to go. Let's run.
Frankie just grabs him gently by the hand. He's like, let's just go see what's happening and deal with things as they come, yeah?
Okay. And he grabs Frankie's hand.
And so, you turn and run.
Oh yeah.
For the third time down this forest path, towards the strange magic sensations, towards the sounds of screaming and moaning that echo through the trees. Kia ora, Penny here. Our last hope is now well underway. Keep your eye on the birdie because it's bangers all the way down from here. But I guess I would say that. Thank you very much to our patrons for continuing your support of our show. James Courtwright, Samsara, Claire McDonald, Jules Bergesser, Violet, Alex Moore, Lyndon Hood, Jesse Wesson, Disturbed 1NZ, sometimes Marlock, occasionally Dinglefloof, but always the human servant of the real-life Wen of the Forgotten, Andrew Evans, Ludacris, Steffi James is awesome, and Danielle, the tea lady, lady of the tea. What you donate keeps the show moving forward, and I truly hope the story earns your support as we wrap up. Keep an eye on the Patreon page for always more Easter eggs and moments that got cut from the actual episode if you're in for a giggle. Music credits thanks to Bobby Richards for 19th Floor, Jamina Contreras for Alpha Mission, Mini Vandals for Lift Up, DivKid for Rinse Repeat, Anno Domini Beats for Illusions and Warzone, Jeremy Blake for Science Montage, French Fuse for Somewhere Fuse, and God Mode for To Pass Time. As we swing now into April, I want to remind you that the Yes and charity stream is well into pre-production now, and while we are looking for cast and crew, I just want to take a moment to ask you, our listeners, to follow us on your socials of choice. That's the Yes and charity stream. We'll be dropping updates, lore, and all kinds of goodies to get you hype for our show. I'm also happy to tell you that our charity partner for this year is Make-A-Wish New Zealand, which means in 2024 your donations will be granting wishes in a completely new way. How exciting. If you want to get involved in Yes and 2024, please send an email to us at yesandcharitystream@gmail.com. Well, that's enough updates. You don't listen to the show to hear me talk. Let's get back into the narrative and hear me talk some more. The party arrive back at Manifay, making the best time so far. We're all over, elves are doubled over, but all of them are watching the courtyard. Next to the fountain, Amnesty is channeling a spell that is causing all the electric blue energy to spill out from the fountain and arc down into the chest of the black-robed figure that you noticed before was missing, Shroud. But Shroud isn't obscured anymore. Its cloak is thrown back from the force of the energy spilling into it, and even from this far away, you can see that it is not a person, but an iridescent human skeleton, expressionless, emotionless, absorbing all the magic out of the fountain that Amnesty is feeding into it. And perhaps most distressing of all, standing over a pile of bloody guard bodies at the gates of the courtyard, between you and Amnesty, you can see 4 people standing, waiting for you. The first, dressed in his dapper white suit and bowler hat, standing proper and leaning his hands lightly on his cane. Poet the Tiefling. The second, clad in an orange monk's robe and beads, shifting his weight from foot to foot, watching you approach with a bare-toothed grin and violence in his every tiny fidget. Friskin the Tabaxi. The third, leaning slouched up against the gate, the white stain on his face blinking in the midday sun. Mole the Hobgoblin. And fourth, rising from his meditative seated position, peering at you from beneath the brim of his casa, resting a hand confidently on the hilt of his sword, Moshi the Human. The 4 generals of Master Speck, whose lives and missions have weaved in and out of your own, standing guard, waiting for you, ready to do the bidding of their leader.
Yikes.
Ido's gonna come to like the front of our party and he'll be like, Amnesty, what are you doing?
Poet is the one who responds, and he smiles and says, there you are. Thank you for being our stand-ins so Amnesty could smuggle us past the border. Very sporting of you.
Oh.
And anyone can roll insight if you want to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll roll it.
Karen, you can have advantage because of a previous check that you passed.
Oh, fantastic. Then that means I originally rolled an 8, and now I've rolled an 18 plus 5, so that is a 23.
Karen, when you first entered the forest, you noticed that Master Speck used very particular wording and demanded that the guards say specifically that he and his friends could enter the forest.
Yeah.
And you now
shit.
realize that he did that so that he could get these guys into the forest and into the village.
Oh,
Yeah, I figured.
That's
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
The context was that he was bringing you in, but the wording meant that he could smuggle other people in as well.
Oh, little
That's
bastard.
That's good. Flynn will call out, "We don't understand. What's going on? We need to understand. Why are you all here?"
Moshi is the one who responds to you, Flynn. He steps forward and he says, Master Speck will take the magic these elves have been hoarding, and he will use it to fix the world, as he vowed he would.
Fix it. But these are people. They're living people. They need this.
He's not fixing the world, he's just killing people. Step aside.
Karen Moll is the one who responds to you. He steps forward and using his toe, which just sticks out the front of his worn out shoe, he draws a line in the dirt and he says, Amnesty saved my life. I will lay it down here for him. And Friskin joins in and he's looking right at you, Karen, and he says, "Can we fight already? I want to kill Karen."
Oh my god.
Always hated that cat.
Wait, you guys are here to fight us?
They've always been here to fight us, Idafer.
Poet smiles and says, "Pick your dance partner. If you mean to stop him, I'm afraid you'll have to go through us, and that is simply not happening." You are faced with a choice. The longer you stand here, the further Amity will get through stealing this magic. You need to make a choice.
I need to understand who that person is, though. Why is it important that he sacrifices these people to put the energy into that thing?
I was going to ask to roll a history check because he's talking about using the magic to heal the world, and I just wanted to go back over my conversations with Dalton about also using magic and why magic left the world, and if all of this connects
Okay, sure.
in a weird way. So I can't get it all out of my head. I haven't taken medication today.
Okay, roll me history.
Okay, history. That's a natural 20.
Oi!
Hell yeah. So you specifically want to talk about your conversations and your experiences with Delton, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So way back in the early days, you had a dream about a naked man. Yes?
Yes.
You had a dream about someone burning books. You had a dream about the world changing. Delton told you the last time that you talked with him that he was stuck in people's dreams, that he had a place to go back to and he couldn't get there. So he was stuck dream hopping and he couldn't get from one place to the other. He also told you at one point that Master Speck is not who he says he is, and you think you might know what he meant by that.
Yeah. I get it now, yeah.
For a natural 20, I'm going to give you one more thing.
Oh, okay.
What happens to the naked man in the dream? Do you remember?
No.
We watched it through accelerated time as days and nights blended together, and the old naked man eventually decomposed into a skeleton.
Yeah. And so
Oh.
skeleton, and now this skeleton, same skeleton?
And the place that you've been, you got a natural 20, so I'm throwing some shit at you right now.
Nice.
Oh.
The place that the old man and the skeleton was right outside of Delton's cave where you've been.
The place that Master Speck was protecting.
Oh.
And the place that you know that Delton lived when he was mortal.
Oh. Okay.
And, fuck it, it's a natural 20, why not? You are going to have to make the connection, but I'm going to throw some more information at you that you already know.
Okay.
When you asked the question box, what happened to the world? What did you see? You saw 5 people,
Yes.
including Uzziah Jet, carrying bones to a place where there was a pathway to somewhere else, like a magic pathway that led out of this world. And they dumped the bones and the pathway disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you happen to have on you the note that you were handed from the wizard's diary? The one that I had Liv draw?
Oh, yes. Yep.
For a natural 20, Frankie, I have recapped a lot of what you have been shown, right? Delton showed you an old man exactly where he lived, who decomposed and turned into bones. I've told you what the question box showed you, which was people dumping bones in a place that made a pathway disappear. This right here is a cross-section that Brum the Wizard once wrote into his own notes that was given to you by his daughter. And the thing that all this magic is being channeled into is a skeleton.
Oh, right. Okay.
He's trying to bring Dalton back.
Wait. Did I just wait? Are the pieces getting put together?
Frankie, what is
I
it?
think I might be like the last. I think I'm like the last person to actually get this out of game. The god that was killed, was that Dalton?
The one that you saw in the vision?
Yes.
No, that was Shantia, god of the harvest.
That's right. That's why the pieces weren't fitting. Okay, never mind. Carry on.
The thing that Flynn's trying to throw out, right? Because with all that we've learnt and the pathways we've gone through, we know that the world's a little bit fucked and without magic because the gods aren't here. So he's trying to figure out with himself by bringing back. Are they trying to bring back the gods, and are we against them in that, even if it risks the people here at the moment? Because in a little bit in his mind, he's like, well, they're old because they've lived past their time because of the fountain. So that's that weird kind of conundrum for himself. But also he's trying to figure out, like, if we actually stop them, are we good guys or are we bad guys? That's all it's coming down to for him. So he's trying to figure out, what do we know from what we've pieced together of Master Speck, Poet, and...
Flynn, do you remember what the question box showed you? Do you remember the question that you asked the question box?
I didn't ask a question.
Yeah, you did, actually. You asked what Master Speck's plans were. Do you remember what it showed you?
Oh, no.
Roll me history.
Okay.
Karen was the only one who didn't ask a question of the question box.
Yeah, I didn't trust it.
Oh, that's right.
I love Karen's untrusting nature.
17.
Flynn, I'll just give you a little reminder of what the question box told you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You asked what Master Speck's plans were.
Mhm.
And what you saw was him collecting items and magic and feeding them into Shroud's chest, right? You saw him collect the hearts of the vampires that he slayed, and he fed them to Shroud. You saw him going on grand quests and killing monsters and finding items and creatures that have magical properties and putting them in to Shroud, of which now you know is an iridescent skeleton.
Mm.
He also, as he usually does when considering his plan, was looking north. And I can't help but brag because I've been having fun lying to you for a long time. The last thing the question box showed you before it cut out was Master Speck's face shimmering and changing, which now you know was an early indication that he was somebody else.
Oh, bro. Okay.
Back to the present. You guys have all spent a little bit of time inside your mind palaces thinking about what the hell's going on right now.
Mind fellows.
But one thing that you know for sure is that if Amity is successful in stealing this magic, these elves will die.
Ido wants to jump towards Amity and try and stop him.
The only way to get to Amity is to go straight through the generals.
Okay.
Oh,
Sure. Yeah, you walk up.
Oh no, I run.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, you run up. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Ido, be careful, please.
That is a 25.
Nice.
Very nice. There's a blur of movement, and your momentum is turned against you as Friskin grabs you and swings you around. You take no damage, and you land on your feet in front of him. And he wiggles a finger at you, and he says, "Up, up, 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 up. You cannot go there. You have to choose a dance partner. Let's do this already, huh?"
I completely do not even acknowledge Friskin at this moment. I'm like, Uncle, what are you doing? Are you planning on killing this whole village?
There's a lot of magic, wishy, there's sound effects happening that I don't have the budget to add to the show. But imagine that there's a lot of
That sounds so good.
yeah, cool ASMR stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
You are not sure that he can hear you, but you also know for a fact that he ordered his guys to stand here and stop you. So he doesn't want to talk to you, or he can't hear you.
Karen says, "Hey, kitty cat."
His ears perk up, and he looks at you with a mischievous grin.
Oh my God.
Get away from Idafer.
Oh, why don't you come and make me then, huh?
Karen rages.
All right, everybody roll for initiative.
Woo!
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I feel so betrayed.
So just so you guys know, I've been building to this fight since the very first episode, because that's when you met Moshi.
Oh yeah.
I'm not looking forward to fighting Moshi. He's kind of up in half.
I thought we were friends.
We shared food. That's rude.
I rolled a nat 20
Plus what?
plus 0.
Okay.
Well, Ido got 11.
Frankie got a 7.
Flynn also got a 7.
Who wants to go first out of the two of you?
I mean, my dex is only +2, so I'd say Flynn would probably go first.
Oh yeah, mine's a +4.
All right, Karen, you're up.
How far away is Friskin from Karen?
He's adjacent to Idafer,
Right.
and he's probably 20 feet forwards from you.
Okay, so as part of my bonus action to rage, I can move half my speed just as the rage action. So Karen screams and, her hair flies up and she and a burst of blue light just kind of emanates off of her, and then suddenly she's right there next to Friskin. And her temperate great axe appears in her hands, and she does a big old downward sweep, just trying to cut him from shoulder all the way down to the hip.
Okay, yeah, sure. Roll me an attack roll.
I would love to do that. That is a 26 to hit.
Yeah, 26 definitely hits. Yeah, so go ahead and roll me your damage.
I would love to do that as well. Oh, 11 damage. Not great, because I rolled a 1. But I would also like to... Yeah, I'll just hit him again.
Sure.
Again. Let's
Yeah,
do it
roll me an
again.
attack roll.
And that is a 19 plus 11. So
Yeah,
a
nice.
30 to hit.
Yeah, 30 hits. Go ahead, roll your damage.
Oh, a little bit better. 17.
Yeah, cool.
So just slice him downwards and then slice him back upwards again.
Karen, in a blur of speed, you're suddenly right next to Idafer, who you can see is very upset, but you can see the bright, clear line here. The only way to get to Anity is to go through these guys who are clearly waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
Your axe appears in your hands before you even realize what's happening, and you take 2 quick, fast swings, both of which connect with Friskin and basically open up his chest. Just straight across his monk's robes, these big slashes. But what happens next you weren't expecting. Friskin takes your forward movement and leans back, pulling you with him on the second slash.
Ooh.
And for a moment, he's lying on his back with you balanced on his arms and feet. His feline legs tense for a moment, and he kicks up, and you go flying across the courtyard and through a window into the castle.
Ooh.
Idafer, from your point of view, Friskin just disappears as you hear maniacal laughter. You can hear his voice cackling about hitting the jackpot. As Karen, you recover inside this castle, inside this room in the castle, as you see Friskin climbing through the window and salivating at the idea of fighting you, Karen. He says, "Ha ha ha! This is exactly what I wanted. Let's fucking go." Friskin is going to roll 2 unarmed strikes against you, Karen.
All right.
The first one is going to be 15 plus 8.
Yeah, that hits. I do have bear totem up, so I do have resistance to all damage but psychic.
Okay, so the first one is going to be 1d8 plus 4 bludgeoning, which is 8 bludgeoning and then 1d4 slashing, because his unarmed attacks also have cat claws on them.
Oh.
So that's first attack is going to be 12 damage.
Okay. Is that already halved?
That's not half, so you can halve that.
Okay.
The second attack is 13 plus 8, 21.
Okay.
And that is going to be 7 plus 4, another 11 slashing damage.
Okay.
He used his bonus action to reposition you. So he comes in, and as fast as you are, he is faster. You see him in the window, and he comes at you faster than you could have expected, as these 2 palm strikes, followed by claw slashes, just rake across your shoulder and your arm.
Oh.
You were not ready for those.
No.
There is another way of saying this, which is, it's on. It's on. This cat
It's
wants
on.
to fight you so badly.
Yeah. For sure.
Next up, initiative count 20 is going to be Amnesty is going to use his first turn feeding the font into the skeleton. This is going to consume his action and his concentration. Next up, Idafer, you're right there in front of the remaining 3. What do you do?
At this moment, Ido is just enraged, like if he were a barbarian. But alas. So he...
Getting angry is a free action.
Hey, you know.
Ido is going to jump at Mole and will try and put his dagger to his throat.
Okay.
And then kind of like he's going to be like, why did you mislead me like this?
Roll me a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Oh, I got a 1.
Oh.
His voice cracks in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think it must.
You feel quite a bond towards Mole, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. He taught
In
me.
the Wish Scroll timeline, you guys were partners. He comforted you when you thought Frankie was dead.
Yeah.
He taught you more about wild shaping than anyone else was able to.
Mm.
And in this moment, you can see in his face, despite the fact that he doesn't answer you, that he is conflicted.
Good.
And then he turns into an elephant.
Okay, well, that's a hidden choice.
You are grappling him, and then so fast his body changes and get grey skin, and you feel the trunk wrap around you as you are hurled into that same little coffee shop that little stall nearby. Can you just quickly roll me? Do you have anything to stop you from taking fall damage?
Fall damage?
Yeah.
I can just use Uncanny Dodge, so I can just half the damage.
Okay. Just quickly roll me an acrobatics check as this elephant just tosses you into these nearby stalls, which are admittedly pretty flimsy, made of like leaves and branches and more like freestanding than structures.
Okay, let's have a look. That's 13.
This elephant hurls you, and you, flying through the air, are able to see as the elephant turns back into mole and starts to transform again as you land on this leaf that collapses down into the store below, and you find yourself in basically like what looks like a hippie shop. There's garments in here. There's like homemade
Smells
jewelry.
like incense.
Smells like incense. Yeah, all the things. You land pretty solidly on your feet as you look around, and you hear a growling noise on the outside, and you can see that just outside this room there is a leopard stalking you.
We could have a cool animal fight, but I don't really want to do that. But actually, let's see what I can wild shape into.
A leopard stalking you. Can you turn into a leopard?
So I'm kind of like covered in leaves a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Would you consider that hidden?
I'll give you the pitch that you haven't taken an action yet. You didn't attack him at the gate, and then you were thrown here, so you can go ahead and make your action if you want to.
Awesome. All right. Well, if I'm hidden from a creature when I cast a spell, the creature has disadvantage on any saving throw.
Oh.
So at this point, I'm completely forgetting about Electrum. Do you think that because we're so close to all this magic that it would just be kind of innate at this point? Like if we...
You clever girl. Yeah, there's no need for you to use... you'll notice as well, I didn't talk to Karen about marking off Electrum for rage. So while the fountain is still up, you're good.
Oh, that's a sick. Alright, in that case, I am going to... What is my best spell? Oh, that one's interesting. Okay, just because I've never used this one before, I'm going to use Shadow Blade.
Ooh.
The way it works, and I'm going to use it at level 3. I weave together threads of shadow to create a sort of solidified gloom in my hand. This magic sword lasts until the spell ends, which is up to a minute of concentration. So just keep me on that. It counts as a simple melee weapon with which I'm proficient. It deals 2d8 psychic damage or 3d8 using it at level 3 on hit, and has finesse, light, and thrown properties.
Which of your main weapons would you like to combine this with?
I'm going to combine this with my commands backup.
Sure, yeah, you summon your sword out of your amulet, and the way that you feel this like anger and betrayal and all this confusion that you feel as it comes out and ports into your hand, it's like this, rather than being like a bright purple, it's like a dark, cloudy purple with like a little bit of smoke kind of coming off of it, like, but it's not smoke. You know what, like liquid nitrogen looks like when it's always got that like...
I know
that
shit.
Yeah. So that's what your sword looks like.
Oh, well, I would like to, because I am, like, I'm still underneath this stuff, right?
Yes.
So I'm
when you're in the store, you're not restrained at all. You landed well.
And I'm pretty I don't have it written down, but I'm pretty confident I have this thing where, like, if I'm at least a little bit hidden, I'm fully hidden. But that might actually be a later level. Anyway, so you're okay with me being hidden?
Yeah, sure, you can be hidden.
Oh, that just means I can use sneak attack, that's all. So, I've got this sick-ass weapon. I am going to throw the shadow weapon.
At the leopard?
At the leopard, yes. Yeah.
The leopard's not all the way inside the stall, it's like on the other side of a leaf, but you could see the spot pattern through, like, imagine like a monstera leaf with like a few holes in it.
Yeah.
So you can see the leopard pattern through there, and you throw your sword at it. Go ahead and roll me an attack roll with advantage.
Okay. What would be, like, do I get a plus attack for this, or is it just...
Well, you normally get a bonus to your attack rolls based on the comments backup.
Okay, so I can just use that?
Does the Shadow Blade say that it is a plus anything weapon?
It doesn't, no.
Add your normal bonus then.
Okay,
which
sweet.
is, comments backup would be proficiency plus dexterity, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's a plus 10 for me. Alright, sweet. So that's 18 to hit.
Whoa!
18 hits?
Because I'm hidden, I'll also use sneak attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, let me just grab my... Or me dice! Like, I can't hit him with the dagger, then run towards him and slice him with my sickle, can I?
Probably not on this turn with all the stuff that I've let you do.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, time to roll damage. So that is 6, 12, God, that's good. 12 plus 6, 18. That's 19 from sneak attack and 18 psychic damage.
Cool. And with the comments back up, if any of those damage dice were a 1, you can re-roll them.
Oh, God, you're right. I just wasn't sure if that would, like, trade over to the Shadow Blade. Also, I just need to roll one more. Okay, so sorry. That is 20 psychic damage and 24 slashing damage.
Holy crap, that is a lot of damage that you just did. You see your target, your emotions and your free action rage that's not mechanically barbarian rage, but it's still very real, valid
I'm very angry.
You throw the Shadow Blade and it like hits the leopard right in the ribs. And there's this like small explosion of emotional rage damage as the leopard spot pattern kind of scrambles, and you hear a familiar like harumph grunt on the other side of this leaf.
Just as that hits, I'm like, I don't want to fight you, Mole.
Next up is going to be Flynn.
Ooh.
Flynn, you have 2 opponents remaining. You can fight Moshi or you can fight Poet.
Oh gosh. I'm going to go for Moshi. And the first thing that Flynn's going to do is cast the cantrip Blade Ward.
Okay. Can you go ahead and read me that?
Basically, I cast a little ward in front of myself, and then until the end of my next turn, I have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage dealt by weapon attacks.
Great, that's awesome. And so you cast this ward on yourself to protect yourself from sword attacks, and then what do?
Can I also cast Bardic Inspo?
You can't target yourself with Bardic Inspiration, so you could target Frankie, who's still nearby, but not yourself.
Sorry, is Frankie the only one that's left beside me?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. Karen's been thrown through a window, and Idafa's been thrown by an elephant. So yeah, they're not in line of sight.
Cool. Yep. So I cast Bardic Inspo. So I turn to Frankie, and I go, "Teamwork makes a dream work. You got this. See ya." And I just
Oh my God.
leave him behind a little bit.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
And then leaves.
And so, how does Moshi know that you've selected him?
I run towards him.
Where do you stop?
I'll stop outside of the range that it can have a opportunity attack, because I just want to be close to him and slightly move away from Poet.
You stop 10 feet away from him, and Moshi watches you do these things. On his turn, he draws his sword, carefully removes his casa hat and puts it down on like a, part of the fence where it just sits lightly, and he bows. He doesn't use his turn to attack you. He just bows and takes a stance, and he smiles to you and he said, "I had wondered which of you would be my opponent. Let us have an honorable fight."
Depends what you're fighting for, mate.
Mate.
But I've got a dragon.
Is there anything else that you'd like to do with your turn?
Speaking of the dragon, some would like to just shake his head from side to side a little bit and under his hat wake up Welby.
Yeah, you hear from under your hat, you hear a little like a little chirp.
Hell yeah.
And you can feel the invisible Welby like crawl backwards down the back of your, out of your hat. He's just sitting on your shoulder now, but he's invisible.
Hell yeah.
Frankie, you're up.
Well, Frankie's just like, well, I guess that leaves you and me to Poet.
Poet doesn't move, but just smiles at you.
Frankie also doesn't move, and he smiles, but really like nervously, because he doesn't have the confidence. So he does that nervous laugh, and then he gets real serious, and he pulls back his sleeve and has this cute little gauntlet on, and he is
on which arm?
It is on his. What one is that one? Left.
Okay, all right.
And he just like holds out his arm, and at first nothing happens, but then slowly. First of all, sorry, how far away is Poet from Frankie?
20 feet.
Okay. The area around Poet starts to twist and shape. So what he's doing is casting Vortex Warp.
Okay.
So Frankie is magically twisting space around another creature he can see within range. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or he could choose to fail if he wants to. Otherwise, the target is transported to an unoccupied space of my choice that I could see within the spell's range. Which
is 90 feet, right?
No, because I'm casting it at third level, using a third level spell slot. That's 120 feet.
Okay, so Poet has advantage on Constitution saving throws. And I'm not just making this up. I've got stats in front of me for all of them, so let's see. What am I looking for?
I mean, my con, that would be 17.
Yeah, so I got 16 plus 2, so unfortunately I did succeed on that con saving throw.
Okay, that's fine.
So that's your action. What is your, you have anything else you'd like to do? Or you can hand to Poet to make a move and then take your bonus action afterwards?
Yes, I'll do my I only have other spells as bonus action spells. Yeah, no, I don't have anything else to do.
Poet seemed taken out, like he seemed surprised by the move that you went to make. And he, oddly nimble for an old man, dodges out of the way as this little area of energy appears in the air where he was and then disappears, like you've teleported the air where he just was off to wherever your target was. He swiftly runs up to you and grabs you by the wrist. Don't worry, I have a wonderful spot picked out. And he teleports both of you 200 feet straight up into the canopy of the trees.
Oh.
Frankie, 1 minute you're standing and you're looking at Flynn and Moshi and you're looking at Poet, and then the next minute the air is a little lighter and the rustle of the leaves is a little louder, and you're standing on this like very long, thick, amazingly like ancient tree branch above. Below you, you can see the entire battlefield playing out. You can see the fountain and you can see the energy being arced into the skeleton, and Poet points his cane at you and casts Hold Monster at 5th level. Can you please roll me a Wisdom saving throw, DC 17?
Okay, and I will use my Flash of Genius as well.
Nice.
So that's 18 plus 1 plus 5.
Hell yeah, go you. Yeah, absolutely. He goes to cast a spell on you to hold you still. And same as he did to you, you're able to resist this spell. You can see that his intention was to lock you down, not hurt you.
Oh, no. Like, my intention was also not to hurt him, but just to move him just away so I wouldn't have to deal with him for a little bit.
He gives you a big smile. Well, it seems that we've reached an impasse.
Yeah.
How delightful.
This is going to be a battle of the minds now. I'm not physical. I don't think Poet is physical. Like, oh, man. I'm going to have to pull out like a Rubik's Cube and see whoever like can solve it faster win. Oh, this is amazing.
Gang, I am so sorry for attacking the violent one and leaving you guys with all of the like morally complex characters. Because I would have taken down any of them, no problem. Yeah. But Friskin did go for me.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I think Friskin had a thing.
Yeah.
For like a long time, there was always that tension.
Yeah, it started when he fucking skipped out on his job.
And here we are. Our favorite Parchment Company employees split off and each paired up with the generals of Master Speck, these people who have been in your lives for longer than you care to realize, and Amnesty. Amnesty, the man who returned to his home only to destroy it and steal everything that once kept him alive. It's on, guys. Janice and Breathitt's Parchment Company versus Master Speck and his generals. Fight. And here you are. Poet here. I might be old, but I've got something up my sleeve. Experience. These young ones just don't respect that. But you and I know the only sure plan is the one you've pulled off before. Believe in yourself, young one. You'll inherit the world one day. Do better than I did.